This ain't no place for no better man. This ain't no place for no hero to come home. Oh, Jesus Christ. Wow, that's awful. Freaking gas. Better late than never, right? Guess who slept in today? It's raining too. Well, I can't fucking be outside. Oh. Where are all my Jesus freaks? Holla if you hear me. Yo, 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 here we go. What's up, Karen? I get a new fucking charger. My phone didn't charge correctly. So I can't look things up as well as I'd like to. Pretty big movement going on right now in the United States with the MAGA Christians. And like women are trying to dismantle their own right to vote. It's pretty shocking. I mean, it's so hard talking to Christians. Because their whole thing isn't, like, your entire identity is based in fantasy. And it's not even your fantasy. It doesn't even place you at the top of the hierarchy. And the thing is, like, this is where I just don't, like, how do you not see it, right? Can't fix crazy. Well, I mean, but you can show crazy, right? Like, at this point, how someone doesn't see that Christianity is so the Jays have control. Literally, that's why you're a Christian. It's so you don't think we can fix things ourselves. You think we need a savior to come fix it for us. And so that you are totally okay with this life that is, I mean, it's just like your Bible, right? Your Bible really doesn't hesitate, doesn't hold back. Your Bible is all Jewish. All the narratives are Jewish. All the characters are Jewish. And it doesn't hesitate to, like God only showed up for the Jews. The Jews were the ones that were able to make the altars that God could, that could to talk to God. And normally it worked out that they would talk to God. God would tell them, hey, go this way. Look, whatever you can see this way, that's all your land now. And everyone in it is your property. And then apparently they would just go into the town and be like, hear ye, hear ye. You all belong to me now. So says God. I built a phone. I talked to him. He said it, so. And apparently everyone just listened. But God, your God, didn't give a shit about anyone else. Your God didn't appear to the black people. Your God didn't appear to the, you know, the Asians, the Indians, whatever. Your God was like, hey, I specifically will only appear to this one group of people who I also think should get all of the favor, and then, you know, bring on the peyote. No thanks. I don't need to trip for a couple days. That would be too much. It's weird to think, like, in my 20s, my late teens and 20s, I was, would freak me out. And I'd hate it. I'd do it again. I never did peyote. The idea of tripping for multiple days just never appealed to me. Just like meth. The idea of staying awake for more than one day is not appealing to me at all. I enjoy sleep. Sorry you got me off on a tangent. People across the way have the biggest TV I've ever seen in a house. But anyway, when you look at how the Bible is laid out and what like the underlying message is, and then you compare it to what's happening today, those Arab Abrahamic dudes did their fair share. I think if they would have done peyote, it would have been a better story. It's not very good. The Bible is like the greatest story ever. It's not. It's dumb. It really is dumb, and it makes your God seem like a real big, like, childish, insecure asshole. But it cements the idea that this one group gets the favor, gets Semitism. So when you're now looking and you see your... Looks like gas is coming out. I can't smell it. It didn't smell like it, but it looks like it. It looks like there's a second leak. Good morning, Matt. But it's just interesting how it all works out. And that, you know, again, you see this system where laws and rules and regulations and all that keep changing to benefit that same group of people. And the Semitism is just rampant. And for those that don't understand or don't know, Semitism means policy or predisposition favorable to Jews. The rules, the regulations, and the way that people think is favorable to Jews. So to say anti-Semitism is just, again, that Semitism is supremacy, so anti-Semitism is anti-supremacy. It's really, really simple. Did you guys know that the Israeli flag is now illegal to burn here in the United States? Free Palestine. I agree, but it's limited, right? Because I don't know what free Palestine even means. You know, free them from the Israeli control for sure, but then what? What do we put in? You know, some sort of Islamic monarchy or Christian monarchy or some shit like that. Like, what is freedom for those people? What is freedom for any of us? Because even as Americans, you're not free. You have a stronger illusion of freedom. So much for America first, focusing on Israel. They're not even Semitic. They're Ashkenazi. Nazi. Nazi's crazy. And killing Nazi's crazy. More like isn't real. What's the penalty for burning a pedo flag? I don't know. I think it's jail time. Let's see. Let's see. I saw a video about it. I'll just put burning Israel flag and see what happens. Legal group hails breakthrough as U.S. judge equates Israeli flag with Jewish identity. Exactly. This is what I've been trying to say the whole time, is listen to what they say, right? Listen to what they say. They're the ones that have been equating the genocide to Judaism the whole fucking time. We're not supposed to say that. We're not supposed to say, it's supposed to be like, well, it's not the Israelis, it's not the Jews themselves, it's the government that they overwhelmingly put in and don't have any problems with what it's doing. Why not leave the land for the people who lived there the last 3,000 years? The actually natives of the land. Yeah, but again, what... I just think that the problem isn't just an oppressed Palestine. The problem is the J cancer that rules the world. So until we eliminate the J cancer, then free Palestine, then the vaccines, then the racism, the pedophilia, all that stuff. If we can't end the cult that controls all those things, then we can't fix those things. They can give us a Band-Aid or something and we can fall for it, but that's about it. The whole supporters crew here got nothing to do with religion till the Euro trash. I mean, see, again, this is where it's like, do you understand that all religion comes from the J's? It's a J control scheme, whether it's Islam or it's Christianity or any of the other ones, but the big two that we're allowed to be, these are just Jewish control schemes. You get that, right? Like, the Bible isn't real, the Quran isn't real. These are just narratives that were given to us. But hailed a legal breakthrough in court anti-Semitism after a U.S. federal judge last week equated the Israeli flag with the Jewish race. The Jewish race. They're not a race. Ooh. It's really important that people understand that. What do you have to do to convert to being a person? There is no Jewish race. That's what I just said. Crazy to show your face online after they caught you on Colorado Pet Patrol. Did they? Show us. Show us. I'd love to see where that happened. So, did I go to Colorado? I'm live every day. So every day people see that I'm here. So when did I run to Colorado real quick on a flight and get caught and then fly home by the next morning? Is that what your dumbass has to say? If you're going to say something, why make it so specific that you make yourself look stupid? That's crazy. No wonder people without critical thinking defend the Jays. If they think they are race, they are race. Then I'm John Cena. Fight me. But this is just insane. This is insane. The Jewish race, in quotes. What the fuck is the Jewish race? Don't tell me how to run my feed. talking about the interference is just as important as talking about what's going on. Because if I was wrong, then wouldn't people just say so? I really do point that out a lot. If I'm wrong about what I'm saying, how come people don't just attack what I'm saying? Why would you have to go to such a great length to make up nonsense? Colorado Ped Patrol, episode 39. Let's look for it. Let's look for it. Again, because, it's not like I'm here every day. Colorado Ped Patrol. What does it say, 39? Number 39. It doesn't come up. Colorado Ped Patrol videos. Let's see. They're not numbered episodes, so how do you know what number 39 is? I kind of think you're lying. Yeah, because you just made up some shit, and I'm trying to prove you right. I'm trying to prove that you're right, and you wouldn't dare lie just to make a fucking point. Oh, here's the live. They're on like the 500th catch, so let's do oldest first, and then we'll go down to catch number 12. Now see, 12:30. No. Yeah, see, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. There is no Colorado Ped Patrol number 39, right? What are you babbling about? Can you imagine, so basically when people say that shit, they're acknowledging that somebody said that to them one time, said that they were babbling, said that they were yapping, and they got their feelings hurt. So now they say it like it's some sort of real thing. Brother, you can't just discount every religion on earth as being made up or fake. You're being short-sighted. Oh, really? Let me guess. Which one do you think is the real one? I wonder what Makita Yosef is going to tell us is the real. All the other ones are fake. But which one do you think this guy thinks is real? Based on nothing. Won't have a single decent reason why or anything decent to say. Is just going to say that I should fall for it because he falls for it. Nobody would be here other than those bots to not get censored. Ped patrols are not real. Don't get upset, bro. We're just conversations here. Again, the idea that you would have to tell yourself that you made me upset, is that like a win for you? Does that make you feel good? Because I'm clearly upsetting you, so you're trying to project it onto me that I'm upset. But, you can't upset me. I just want you to back up what you're saying. At least you said conversing and not conversating. It's interesting how mental illness often makes the sufferers feel as they are right. It's interesting how people who like that, the pedos like that, who come in here and talk shit, can never actually say what part is wrong. They can only focus in on these blanket statements, but they can never find an actual issue. No, my bro, that being upset isn't real. Don't be stupid. May I explain myself? What is stopping? I hate when people do that stupid shit. Can I ask a question? Didn't you just do that? Aren't we asking you to elaborate on what you're saying? What's preventing you? Or the people that be like, well, do you want to debate? How come you won't debate me? Like I'm preventing you from saying something intelligent. What part of what I said makes me a pedo? You just call me a name like a sixth grader. No, I assume that anyone that comes to the feed that is specifically about killing pedos and ending the J control scheme has an issue with that. And since you're not specific about what you're talking about, it leaves me to make the assumption. It leads me to figure it out for myself. So the only thing I can figure out, the only way I can imagine that people would actually be dumb enough to come on here and start talking shit to the guy who thinks we should kill pedos and end the J control scheme is if they're one of them. Does that make sense? Do you understand? Do you see how I addressed what your question was and then, made a point? Do you see how that works? You should try it, because I would love to know what your reason for being here is. I'd love to know why you didn't deny being a pedo. You just pointed out that I called you a pedo. Oh, yep, smoking crack. I'm just saying that billions and billions of people hold something sacred. Who are you to tell them they're wrong? Me. And people are wrong. You understand that? It doesn't matter how many people believe it. That doesn't signify whether it's right or not. That just says there's a lot of stupid people out there. All I know is if what you believe is true, you shouldn't get upset when people ask you to elaborate on it. You should be able to engage that conversation like it's no big deal. And surprise, surprise, it doesn't matter if it's Christian, Muslim, random Jew or not. It doesn't matter. They never have anything interesting to say. I'm being specific. I believe you're mentally ill and have a complex where you believe you're always right. And so what's your justification for that? Again, why are you here? Let's just say I am mentally ill, right? If I'm mentally ill, your whole thing is that you look for random people online that you think are mentally ill and then come onto their feed and start talking shit to them? That's what it is? And what part makes me mentally ill? Again, can you be more specific, or are you just going to keep making blanket statements? Because you're not being specific. How old is America? Older than me. Well, they believe you're wrong. And? You realize a lot of people are stupid, right? Who cares what Mark says? Don't worry about Mark. Mark's not doing anything. I want your level of confidence in the midst of ignorance. Yep. Because again, you keep saying these crybaby things, but you're not going to actually engage or embrace or explain or elaborate on what it is that I'm actually ignorant over. This is pathetic. Even in a world of live streaming, blocking this track. Of course. See, this is what they do. They make blanket statements. They keyboard warrior, big bad guy, tough guy. And then when you point out that he's an idiot, and you point out, by just simply asking him to elaborate what he was saying, he starts crying, I'm leaving, I'm leaving. Fucking clown, man. But not you. Yes, not me. No, I'm not wrong. You call them stupid, and they call you stupid. Yeah, but I can call them stupid based on facts, based on, I can elaborate on why they're stupid, on what they're getting wrong, and on all that stuff. It's interesting how, again, let's just assume you're a Muslim. As a Muslim, this is the best you can do. Ask a Muslim, ask a Christian, ask any of them, why do you believe what you do? What fosters your arrogance? What fuels your arrogance? What justifies your arrogance? You're clearly extremely arrogant. So why are you that arrogant? What makes it so? Smoking rocks. Yes. What I like to do is roll rocks into big blunts. Because I get this person can literally say all that shit, but can't make one reasonable, real point. And a country less than 500 years old wants to tell countries over 1,000 years old what's right. Right? What's W-R-I-T-E and wrong? Again, you just believe what you want to believe, I guess. You clearly believe the parts that you like and disagree with the parts that you don't. Dude, I just told you I'm not religious. You're not religious, but you think Muslims are right? Noonie with the brain is here engaging you, LOL. We are laughing at you. Somebody that thinks no one is one word is telling me how stupid I am. They literally typed out N-O-O-N-E. Noonie thinks so. But we should, that person's probably really smart, right? There are no countries that 1,000 years old. Oh, well, I don't think that, I think most people are wrong about everything because you're supposed to be. That's how you've been designed to be. Oh, it's not grammar. That's not grammar. That's basic spelling. You think that N-O-O-N-E is a word and you type it all the time. That's how stupid you are. When you're sitting here trying to pretend you're in a superior position to me intellectually, and you can't even, you think no one is one word? Noonie? You type out noonie? The computer didn't do that for you. Spell check didn't do that for you. You type that out because you think it's a word. That's how dumb you are. All I said was free Palestine. Yep. And I didn't agree with you flat out. I made a bigger point. You're making a smaller point. I'm making a bigger point. I'm actually trying to address how we, quote, free Palestine. The only way we free Palestine is if we free the rest of us. We're all victims. It's just to what level. Ouch. But we are all victims of the same control scheme. Well, that's cool. We know you're not superior to anyone. No, believe me, we know that, Mr. Noni. I think we're going to call you Noonie from now on. You like that, Noonie? That's your new nickname, Noonie. Now I'm on meth. Gotta love this meth. Like, to me, it's such an interesting game because it's like, every time somebody comes on here and doesn't engage in the conversation at hand, but says something stupid like that, to me, they're saying, I'm stupid. I don't know how to argue this I don't even know how to have this conversation. I don't know enough to have this conversation, which makes me feel insecure. So now I'm going to lash out. That or they're guilty. One of the two. But I think that's just... someone to come in here and talk shit is just stupid. Y-O-U-R. Here's Noonie again. Noonie said, your Y-O-U-R making no point, LOL. Just drug-induced rambling. You have no point. It's just word vomit. Yep, no point. We should kill pedophiles and we should eliminate the J control scheme. No point there. You guys love free things. I want to hear your credentials. Oh, now my credentials. This feed. When you can't make better arguments than I can and you start scraping the bottom of that barrel trying to come up with whatever sort of nonsense you can, Those are my credentials. That's you proving me right. Oh, well, is that clever in your mind? And you were smoking the rocks 2 days ago on the stream. Yep, I was smoking rocks 2 days ago. Like, this is, I mean, seriously, I guess this is what it is, though. This is what this is the inbred J stupidity that is just shining through. Trust me, this is the best they can do. This is the best they can come up with. Okay, what I'm trying to say is everyone is different with different beliefs. We have the right not just constitutional, but as humans to believe whatever we want. But I hate when people push their beliefs. T-H-E-R-E, beliefs. Okay, so people have the right to believe what they want, and they have the right to believe, which would include that they have the right to push it. But you don't think people have the right to push their beliefs just to believe them? Do you realize how stupid you sound? And if people have the right to believe what they want to believe, then don't they have the right to be criticized just as well? Like, the thing that's always so funny to me is, if I was sitting here going, Muslims are all 30 feet tall, and they have octopus arms, and they have spaghetti growing out of their heads for hair, and they all have 15 eyes all over their face. That's what Muslims are. Would anybody be like, dude, you can't say that. Bro, how dare you say that? Bro. Would any Muslims lose sleep over me saying that? No. But yet some random person saying that your shit's not real, oh boy, that sends you off. You can't handle that some random person doesn't believe the same way you do and ask questions that you don't ask and you can't answer. Oh man. Like, it's so fucking stupid the way that arrogant perspective. Arrogance is just, it's the number one thing. Your Y-O-U-R describing yourself, my dude. Noni doesn't know the difference between your and your and your and your and your. Noni thinks it's all just one your. He thinks him existing makes him qualified to speak. Yeah. Existing does make me qualified to speak on my live feed, of which you seem to not be able to get enough of. But yet, I'm the one at fault here. Funny how that works. Let's see. Here we go, guy. Let's meet and debate on stream for charity. I'll wipe the floor with you, LOL. Then, if you want, we can fight for charity. I'll beat your ass, dude. People would pay to see you get your ass beat, you know? So, if we were in a different scenario, you'd be able to make reasonable comments and say intelligent things. But the fact that you're in the comment section where you actually have all of the advantage, you're not the one that's on the spotlight here. You're not the one that people can see your face and we can see how you're reacting and all that. All you have to do is sit back and type stuff. Hopefully you get it spelled correctly. We know you can't. But if this was a different scenario, then you'd be more capable. And then you'd want to fight and you'd beat me up. Good luck, dude. Good luck. Such a dumbass. Such a fucking dumb. Like, literally, I couldn't have been like, all right, buddy, friend of mine outside of this feed, come in, and what I want you to say is, like, this kind of stuff, okay? Say this, and then act like you get really upset. And then when I really start pointing out how stupid you are because you don't know basic fucking words, then be like, oh, I want to fight. We can fight for charity because people want to see you get your ass beat. Who are these people? I must be doing something right if people are that interested in me. I was on your side until I listened to you for the 2 minutes I got here. Good. Muslims are 30 feet tall. There, I've insulted Muslims. Are you really this dumb? Like, you really, again, I always think, like, how can people be this dumb? But when English isn't your first language, when Hebrew is your first language, then the subtle nuances of English miss you. You know, you might not get the sarcasm. You might not have that understanding that an English speaker would have. So I always have to remind myself that, you know, these are bots. You know, these are fucking bots that are, you know, 12 years, 5 subscribers. Yep. This dude definitely belongs to the Detroit Mosque. Yeah. All that wonderful stuff I've said about Islam. Obviously. I'm a Muslim and I belong to the mosque. This is just fucking entertaining. I gotta give it to you guys. You're at least entertaining. Can't expect to be taken seriously while you do dope. Oh man, I'm doing dope on the live screen, on the live stream. Doing dope. So if this is somehow a hindrance, how come you can't take advantage and continue to look stupid instead? If my pain medication is such a big deal that you won't take me seriously, you'll just watch me day after day for hours on end begging for my attention. How come you can't totally take advantage of it? Like, there's no way I'm ever gonna get into an argument with a drunk and be like, oh man, I just can't best you in because you're drunk and you're just making more sense than I can address. I would never lose an argument to a drunk, other than, you know, being in the argument to begin with. But there's no way a drunk is going to make more sense than I will. Submarines are real. I can make one out of wood. I highly suggest you do that. I would really want to see somebody who keeps, like, again, there's a certain group of people who keeps making this same claim that submarines are easy. They could easily make one. Do it. Do you know how many views you'd get? You could probably get paid by YouTube and whatnot. You'd probably get sponsorship, especially once you started making real headway in the process. You know, you could get all kinds of, you know, 15 minutes of fame and fortune from that. You should do it. Yeah, he's more intelligent than me. Yup. I just love it how he's saying, like, Jeff keeps saying stupid shit but can't point to any specific thing. This is what I want people to look up. Like, figure this out. His record is public knowledge, right? So again, now we're going to start going into all these other directions because you can't make any arguments about why I'm wrong. Interesting how that worked. He said he wants to debate you live. Debate him, bro. Yeah. What's happening right now? What do you think is happening right now? He is debating me. He's just losing. I said, let's debate on a stream live, but you're Y-O-U-R. But you're a pussy. Yep. Right. Because I want to waste my time picking on the special kid. Come on. I would look like such an asshole bringing on the special kid and then just making you look like a piece of shit. Why would I ever do that? The thing that, like, again, it's like you just don't seem to understand is that if you're not making good points in the comment section where it's easy, where it's not face to face and you have to be fucking quick on your feet and, you know, say things in real time. If you can't make a single decent point in the comment section, why would I bring you live? I don't need the victory. Everyday feed is the victory. Me picking on, that's not going to help me. You're not going to say anything that's going to, you know, that's even slightly interesting. If you had a reasonable point, you'd make it. But you don't even have any reasonable points. It's just goofy ass crybaby, you know. Why won't you pay more attention to me? Come on. I just want to talk to you face to face, please. Pay attention to me. Why won't you just pay attention to me? Come on, man. I hate you. I hate you so much. I want to go live with you. Make one reasonable argument on the live feed, and I'll engage you. Just do one. Just say one thing that's like, oh shit, I hadn't thought about it like that. That's an interesting point, dude. Just say one thing. This shouldn't be so difficult. I mean, it always is, and it, of course it is, because, you know, there's nothing you can say that I'm getting wrong. Whoa, what's your goal, dude? To kill all pedophiles and eliminate the J control scheme. It's a sport for charity, sir. We could feed some kids, yeah. Because you have this huge charity network set up. You know, Meals on Wheels is looking to sponsor me crush the special kid in a live feed. Yeah, that's what it is. And then I got to beat him up afterwards? Come on. What sense would that make? I literally pointed it out earlier. People say they want to debate like something is stopping them. Like they're not saying a bunch of shit already in the comments. They're already saying a bunch of shit, but this one thing, they can't make any reasonable points. Right? That's the only thing that they can't do. They could say everything else, but any reasonable points, any sort of enticement for me to want to even talk to you outside of the live feed, you can't provide anything like that. You're literally nothing. Like, I don't like you, I don't not like you, you're nothing. You're just another random nothing that I'm supposed to like what's the upside to this? You come on here and start making stupid points about the nothing you already do, and I'm supposed to what? Do you even understand how a debate works? You can't even debate well enough to get me to want to debate with you. That's how stupid you are. You're such a nice person. I am here for you, and I see everything. Have a great day. I'm from Sweden. What's up, Sweden? You're right, I am a nice person. I appreciate that. Look at this shit. Israel is no balls, just a keyboard warrior. Do you know what a keyboard warrior is? A keyboard warrior is someone in the comment section. Someone talking shit behind their keyboard. This is not a keyboard. You just keep digging. I look like every single. The best part is knowing that I don't even have to pre-screen your comments, right? I can just read them as they are, and you're never gonna say anything that's even slightly like intelligently adversarial. It's just gonna be all kinds of dumb shit. Let's see. You said you can find, that's my real name. You said you can find anyone. I said I can find anyone? I'll be here. DM me a time and place. We can debate or box, but you're a coward. Y-O-U-R, a coward. Because the best part is I matter so much to this person that they literally want to like, oh, I'm going to do all these things and I want to spend all this effort and energy on you. Dude, you're nothing. You're just a fucking clown profile on YouTube who can't even get the yours right, who thinks no one is one word. We have no business in any sort of debate platform because you're just going to continue to look stupid. But like this, I believe you could smoke, but that's your belief. But I know you won't let a 7-year-old smoke. Belief is okay, but some people know the difference between right and wrong. What? I mean, what? Yeah, you don't let a 7-year-old smoke. Yeah. I don't let 7-year-olds drive. I don't let 7-year-olds, go walk in the streets by themselves. For the most part, I don't let the 7-year-olds cook. Don't let the 7-year-olds stay up as late as they want to. Yeah, there's lots of things you don't do with a 7-year-old. And I'm sure to some of you, that goes a lot deeper. Like you don't realize that you're not supposed to be touching them like that. You're not supposed to be communicating with them like you are. But that's a really good point there. We didn't even say anything. You snitch on yourself. Yep, snitch on myself. Crack and meth aren't painkillers. Yep, all the crack and meth. I seen you do the crack. LOL, I seen you do the crack. You would lose an argument to anyone in person. Right. So in person, again, it's more difficult. There's like adrenaline, there's all that stuff that's involved. But you have to be quick. You have to be, on your game. You can't just, you don't get to sit there and go, let me think about what I'm going to respond with. You have to respond immediately. In this scenario, you can take all the time you need to come up with the best response you can come up with. And literally, like 90% of the time, you can't even get the word spelled right in your response, let alone actually engage in anything. I can't tell you how much I appreciate this. I normally don't put this much effort into it, but my other phone's not charged, so can't be looking stuff up as easily. So sometimes it's fun to engage in this shit. You saw him do crack? Yep. James is the only one that saw it, but yeah, I was doing crack on the feed the other day, apparently. Or meth. Wasn't it meth? I don't remember. I'm leaving before you melt my entire brain and it comes out oozing on my ears. Good luck with the rest of your life. I mean, how'd you get this far? Melting your brain means, you're not winning the argument. And melting your brain is pretty good when your brain still thinks the way it's supposed to. So you want to run away, go right ahead. But you don't get this far running away. You get this far engaging it head on. Not that his flawed views matter, but what's the fascination with submarines not existing? Go watch parts 1 through 9. You'll get your answer if you really care that much. Split, add on the screen. Yes, again, this doofus hasn't said anything that matters. He's basically, so far, just gone, Why would I bring him on a feed so he can just make a fool of himself? I don't have any desire, like he as a nothing, I don't have any desire to belch. That I had to beat this guy or whatever. You're dumb. There's no point. Like I've said from the beginning, if you could earn that position, I'd engage you. The fact you can't do it in the comment section when you have all of the advantages means in person, you're even dumber. You're even dumber. What do you think is preventing him from making a single reasonable point? Because he's in the comments. Where is the disadvantage there? And what's the deal with submarines? Easy way to get out of being proven wrong on video. Yes. So again, you could do it if you were live with me, but you can't do it in a reasonable comment. Totally makes sense. Just dude without a job, smokes weed and does pills and drinks beer and gets all his info from videos. Yep, that's what I do. Take pills and drink beer and smoke weed and do all this shit, and don't forget the meth and the crack. And I just watch videos. Never mind all of my videos where I'm literally reading what they want us to read. Nah, that shit doesn't matter. Have you done any actual journalism or do you watch it? Yeah. Again, why is it? See, this is what I don't understand. So right now, that's like the fourth sentence you've made about me. Not anything I'm saying that's wrong. You just keep wanting to talk about me. Why don't you just focus on what I'm wrong about? How about this? This hurricane was a military weather screen for the Marines to land on the Dominican Republic and execute orders given by Trump about cartel activity. Okay. Let's see. It's easier to judge other than hurricanes and thunderstorms are dry ice and alcohol dumped from a plane. Hurricanes are flown in circles. Storms are straight lines. Okay. Nothing to say there. Please stop live streaming. This is a massive waste of time and energy. So why would you be here? Like, to think that somebody actually thought that that was a good, like, he was like, I'll get him. Stop wasting. Dude, what the fuck? How are people this stupid? You think drugs should be legal like in Canada? Well, is Canada falling apart from drug use? No. I don't think ruining people's lives over drug use is a good idea. Because that's all you do. You just make people's lives harder. I have seen multiple comments completely disproving you. You're just ignoring them because you're a giant baby. See, again, not pointing out a single comment, just making baseless claims. Why don't you point out that one comment? You repeat the one comment that totally disproved something I said. Well, for one, you reuse the same outdated video about Wikipedia every other stream. What's wrong with that? It's outdated? Why is it outdated? Speaking of which, let's show you an outdated video that crushes the he's using Wikipedia argument, right? Because that's the reason why this video is so important. The notion that Wikipedia isn't a good source of information. That's why this video of Naftali Bennett, future prime minister when this was filmed in 2010, former prime minister as of today, speaking to the IsraelNationalNews.com. This is outdated.
Moetzet Yesha, in conjunction with My Israel, has arranged Instruction Day for wiki editors. The goal of the day is to teach people how to edit in Wikipedia, which is the #1 source of information today in the world. As a way of example, if someone searches the Gaza flotilla, we want to be there. We want to be the guys who influence what is written there, how it's written, and to ensure that it's balanced and Zionist in nature.
Okay, so an Israeli prime minister admitting that Israel controls Wikipedia back in 2010 is outdated, because now in 2025 they don't control Wikipedia anymore, right? That makes sense? Just like how the idea that the Jews founded Hollywood, ran it with an iron fist, nepotism, racism, well, supremacy as the backbone, and then they just gave up that control? At some point, they just gave up the control of Hollywood? Is that what you think? I just, the stupidity that takes. To think that they got themselves to the point where they control Wikipedia, and by example, the Gaza flotilla narrative, which is where Ken O'Keefe comes from. But that's outdated. That's outdated. I love it. I love it. Why you kick me out? Yep, I kicked you out because I can do that. I can kick people off a stream and then they can come back, right? Bro, I'm a grown man. If you have to say I'm a grown man or I'm grown, you're a child, man. You're a goofy child. A one-sided debate in chat is a defense for you. When you get stumped, you move on and skip a comment. You don't have any ability to personally debate anyone. Yep. I can already hear the responses from you guys to this, but... So, sweetheart, what? Apparently, the reason why I don't bring random strangers onto the feed so they can debate me is because I don't do well in a personal debate. And I'm not very good at debating someone face to face, right?
Come fucking argue for him on my behalf, would you?
There you go. Oh, the desperation. It's sad. It's funny, but it's sad. It really is. I know an old dude who was a summer up. Oh, okay, so there's some proof for you. You know a guy. You can't intake enough to realize you're wrong. There's tens of thousands of submarines. Oh, yeah, well, there you go. I guess I just hadn't thought about that. That proves me wrong. And here, let's keep talking about the thing not being talked about. Because that's always good. You know, the submarine argument, I actually did you guys a favor, right? It's not like I'm talking about Tartaria or anything like that, you know. I'm talking about something that literally no one else is, well, the topic is something that literally no one else brings up. No one else has talked about it. I'm clearly only getting the information through myself. I'm not, you know, regurgitating some Alex Jones bullshit or anything like that. The submarines argument is pretty much your easiest one because of that, because I'm a one of one here. And I can understand why you would constantly try to bring it back to submarines, because it is just one of the, well, I saw a movie. It's one of these things where you know, there's no negative side to you being wrong. It's not like if you engage me on the pedophile stuff, where I'm saying we should kill him and you're opposed to that apparently, that makes you look like a pedo yourself, so you try to avoid that argument. The submarine thing, I mean, you have no, you know, even if you lose the debate, most people think that way anyway, so it doesn't even matter. Nobody's gonna see that you lost the debate, whatever it may be. But even when it comes to submarines, you know nothing. You're not some submarine enthusiast expert. You can't even have the conversation, just like you can't do any of the other stuff in here. You're right, I'm a nice person. What an arrogant thing to say. It's arrogant to say that I'm nice. Yep, that's fucking arrogant. Oh, let's see. There's way too many comments to get through, so I'm just going to go all the way to the bottom and start over. Jesus Christ is King, says some dumb chick. You know how you know you're dumb? Because 1 Timothy 2:12. Apparently, you don't like that part, so you arrogantly don't follow it, right? I've been locksmithing for 12 years now. In a short amount of time, I caught 4 Israeli locksmith scammers in my city alone. I've seen their court cases, though, or through. That's an interesting thing to say. What? Uh-oh. We have the guy that wants to meet me. What's up, Will? Locksmith guy, I'm interested in more of what you're saying. Jesus Christ was never a king. Nope, he wasn't. This guy needs help because I know the Bible and you don't. Is that what it is? Is that why I need help, dumb girl? The son doesn't even allow those people to be named. I have no idea about anything. What? What kind of, like, just desperate stupidity? It's just so interesting to see how it manifests. You know? When people are so desperate to prove their own stupidity, the things that they say, you just go, what the fuck are you smoking? Jesus is the Son of God. Sure he is. Bro was struggling to find a Bible verse the other month. Now that someone's told him something, he's now has 2 Timothy. What? What are we talking about? What are these guys talking about? Other than like admitting that they've been watching me for months, I guess. What are we talking about again? Submarines are real because toys exist. I like the submarine titles to bring people to this stream, right? Because when I first started titling my feed this, I was like, you know what people are? People are huge submarine enthusiasts. So if I say submarines aren't real, people are going to lose their shit. Yeah, that makes sense. And then I'm going to sufficiently prove it for like 9 days straight plus straggler days throughout. I'll prove the idea of it. And yet nobody will be able to even like engage in the conversation, let alone disprove what I'm saying. He is literally here to say one thing. He hates Trump, crying all day long. Yeah, I've said that multiple times in the last hour, haven't I? Again, it's always interesting to see the things that people will come up with when they can't make an actual argument. So then they'll argue something that they can argue. Like, it would be crazy if I only said one thing, I hate Trump, and then cried about it all day. That would be something easy to point out, easy to engage with, I guess. I hate Trump. Like, there's no points being made, just I hate Trump. If I was doing that, then you would have a much easier time. But it's interesting how people will make up what they, it's like they can't eat the food, so they're like, it's chicken, and they just close their eyes and pretend like it's chicken and eat it real quick. You can't make an argument, so you just make up some other dumb shit. You can look up a video right now, one with GoPros. Yeah, sure you can. You can't. And if you can, suddenly, after all this time, somebody decided to make that video, well, that wouldn't be too surprising, would it? When confronted with the unknown assigned to testings, Celsius? You had no idea what it means to test. Look at these dumb shits. Trump has done a full 180 on what he promised, so it's understandable. I mean, Trump is just an Israeli puppet. He's just a puppet for the Jays. If you're busy being distracted by what you're supposed to be focused on, it's not like, see, this is the thing. We all know that the government hides what they don't want us to know. There's all sorts of shit that's happened that wasn't talked about, that wasn't mainstream, whatever. We know that's what they do. So like I've said since the beginning, Epstein wasn't even this like famous rock star or personality or whatever. For us to know about him to begin with is, that's not how it works. When someone from Epstein's ilk gets caught, gets in trouble, that shit just goes away. Look what happened with that guy recently, the Israeli, I can't remember what it was, but he got busted in Vegas in a pedo sting. And instead of being put in jail, he was sent back to Israel and not in any trouble for it. I'm sick of this rain. This just happened. Let's see. Israeli Cyber Directorate employee arrested in America. This is the Jerusalem Post. U.S. says it didn't intervene in arrest of Israeli man accused of Las Vegas child sex sting. Well, let's read the Jerusalem Post has to say. Alexandrovich worked in cyber threat intelligence and active defense, took part in shaping Israel's cyber policy and internal forums, and advised various government bodies. I think it'd be safe to say he's probably a Team Jorge Team Jorge member. Wouldn't you think that way? Wouldn't you assume that based on the position and what we know? In a large-scale operation targeting suspects in an online sexual exploitation of minors, 8 people were arrested, including Tom Artyom Alexandrovich, 38, an employee of Israel's National Cyber Directorate, Las Vegas police said Friday. All detainees were charged with attempting to entice minors online to commit sexual acts. The directorate confirmed the arrest and said the employee had gone on leave until the findings are clarified, which is interesting, right? Because it just begs the question, why is Trump still in office? If in some sort of thing like this, where you have a guy who is just an employee, a high-level employee, but an employee nonetheless, who gets caught up in some shit like this, they get removed. Why hasn't Trump been removed until all of this is... And he gets a 10K bond and just flies back to Israel. Well, here we go. Yeah, that's what we're going to find out. A senior official at the Cyber Directorate in the Prime Minister's office was arrested in the Prime Minister's office, like the highest ranking of his position, was arrested on suspicion of links to pedophilia, a joint operation by Las Vegas police and the FBI over the past 2 weeks, led to the arrest of 8 suspects, including Alexandrovich, 38, from Israel. I wonder who the other suspects were, and if all the other suspects got off. Like, what happened to the other people that got caught? Were they immediately arrested and taken to prison and shit like they should be? After questioning, Alexandrovich returned to Israel and was placed on leave from the directorate. Las Vegas police said suspects were investigated on suspicion of luring a minor by computer for sexual relations. Those arrested were men aged 23 to 49. David Wanacott Yankee, 40. Jose Alberto Perez Torres, 35. Aniket Banrajagamir Sanadini, I think he's Indian. 23. James Raymond Reddick, 23. Raymond Manuel Para Venezuela, 29. Neil Harris Creasy, 26. And John Charles Duncan, 49. There's a lot of people with 4 names in this. And it's weird that they have all of the middle names put out there like they always do in those. Like, that's just weird. You don't see that. You only see that in, like, Lee Harvey Oswald and Mark David Chapman, those kind of things. Michael Thomas Crooks, whatever his name was. Police said the goal was to identify individuals who pose a danger to minors online and prevent them from contacting children and teenagers. We would like to remind parents to discuss with their children the dangers of engaging with strangers online. Parents are encouraged to routinely monitor their children's activity on social media and other online applications to prevent them from becoming victims of a sex predator, Las Vegas police said. And Alexandrovich, an Israeli resident, worked in a technical role at the Cyber Directorate. He is a veteran computer professional at the Directorate whose name had previously appeared in public or criminal context. Right. Lots of their people are just secrets. In recent years, he held roles related to protecting computer systems and was considered a professional and respected employee. He was involved in establishing the Cyber Dome, Israel and its domes, man. They love the dome. A government initiative to protect the civilian sphere from cyber attacks. His work included developing national cyber strategies, leading teams, and defending critical infrastructure against ongoing threats. And he was caught. He must have been lazy or just not giving a shit because he knew who he was and was like, fuck it, I'll be all right. He also worked in cyber threat intelligence and active defense, took part in shaping Israel's cyber policy and the internal forums, and advised various government bodies. Alexandrovich managed large budgets and projects to protect vital infrastructure and election systems. Man, must be nice. Oh, look at you.
Must not have nothing. I don't have no meal though.
I blame you. Have a great day. He was previously among the recipients of the Israel Defense Prize for Achievements in Cyber. The employee updated the directorate that during his trip to the United States, he was questioned by the U.S. authorities on matters unrelated to his work, and he returned to Israel at the planned time of return, the Cyber Directorate said in response. The Directorate has not received additional details through authorized channels to date. Should such details be received, the Directorate will act accordingly. At this stage, by joint decision, the employee has gone on leave to deal with the matter until things become clear. Paid leave. Las Vegas police called on anyone with additional information or anyone harmed by any of the suspects to contact the U.S. Internet Crimes Against Children Unit or report anonymously to the Sexual Assault Victim Hotline. That's that. Truly, I tell you, unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you do not have life in yourself. Are you serious? We're not talking about the Bible bullshit, are we? The Bible is nonsense. It's Jewish fairy tale. What don't people understand about that? It's just that simple. He meant eat bread and wine in remembrance. Really? Then why didn't he say that? It's always interesting the arrogance that comes into play, right? Because all of you assholes out there think that somehow you can decipher, you can interpret which Bible verses are meant to be taken literally and which ones are meant to be metaphors. You know that, right? Like, what the fuck are you even talking about? You know, and that's the thing. You have to do it that way. If you don't do it that way, then your common sense and your human decency would never let you be a Christian. So what you do is go, oh, okay, well, this one's not real. This one is one I'm supposed to interpret, my own interpretation of it. There's no like official interpretation of it. I guess it's just up to me because I'm so smart. It's literally all just Jewish fairy tale. It's all literal, dummy. Yep, it's all literal. So this guy thinks, like, I think this guy doesn't understand, like, he doesn't know the Bible. He'll say shit like that because he doesn't actually know it. And I'd be willing to bet that he believes the earth is round and that flat earthers are stupid, right? I'd be willing to bet that you would say something like that. Jesus was fishing with Peter, who was a master fisherman, and literally walked on the water. Sure he did. How about Islam? Islam's dumb. Like, look at how stupid you guys are. You don't even know what the fuck your Bible says most of the time. What about Matthew 24:34? How come Christians never want to talk about Matthew 24:34? I would imagine it's because they don't know it. Matthew 24:34 is shortly thereafter the revelations are revealed, right? And the weirdos who follow Jesus, who apparently could feed themselves all but one day, and we're talking about thousands of people, they followed Jesus around, and they could feed themselves all but one day, and one day they couldn't feed themselves. So Jesus, he didn't make a bunch of fish. He told the disciples to put the fish in the basket and put the crust of the bread in the basket, and then everyone would eat from it. The next day, Jesus, not wanting the people to rely on him to feed them anymore, he bounced. He disappeared. But I mean, like, the stupidity it takes to believe. The actual question is, why can't I be so condescending? If what you say is true, how come I can make it sound so stupid so easily? How come you can't defend it? Yeah, Leviticus tells us we should go into your house and drag you out into the desert and beat and eat you. It's all stupid. So you hate Jesus but love to keep talking about him. What? I don't hate Jesus. Jesus doesn't exist. I don't hate something that doesn't exist. The belief in Jesus, which is what protects the pedophiles and what keeps the majority of you slaves, yeah, I hate that. But Jesus isn't real. So grow up. It doesn't say to own slaves. It says if you owed slaves. Oh, yeah. If you own slaves, the slaves should listen to the master as they would listen to Jesus. Yep. Never mind that. As for a female slaves, and female slaves whom you may have, it is from the nations around you that you may acquire male and female slaves. You may keep them as possession for your children. Yeah, but even so, who is this talking to or about? Because, the part that people love to skip over is that all of the characters and all of the stories in the Bible are actually Jewish characters and Jewish stories. They literally talk about the Gentiles as a separate group, like those Gentiles over there. They mention the Gentiles separately multiple times. I mean, it's literally just the dumbest shit. Jesus is a historical character. Jesus is a fictional character. Jesus was very much a real person. Whether or not he was God is in contention. How do you think? What makes you think that, Ashley? You have the census records from 2,000 years ago. You know for a fact that Jesus was real person, real guy, hung out with 12 other dudes all the time, which today you would call him gay and you'd have an issue with it. But what makes you so 100% sure he was a real person? How many of you are aware of who King James was? King James in 1611, in his commission of the Bible.
What?
This thing didn't just float out of the fucking sky. It's too rainy out there, I'm sorry. So sorry.
Why?
This ain't no place for no hero. Skip through all this shit again. It's really scary, man. It's scary how from an intelligent perspective, like you can see the purpose of the Bible and how it's all supposed to work, right? The KJV isn't a different Bible, it's a translation. The KJV is a collection of all the Bible verses, apparently, that they were able to find. I mean, listen, you believe in 1611, I don't. They pick and choose which goes in each book. It's a book. Jesus is our Lord and Savior. Repent, for the kingdom of heaven. What's so weird that people are like that? Like, I don't have, like, it's like the closest thing I have to that is when somebody sneezes and I'm like, oh, bless you. Like a pre-programmed response, or somebody, you know. I would say somebody says hello and I say hello back, but there's always variations to that. Somebody says hello, hey, what's up, whatever. So it's not similar. But like this whole idea that you can't make any real arguments or any sort of sense, so you just start reverting back to your parrot, you know, Jesus is the Lord and Savior. It's just so weird. I can't imagine being like that with anything. I can't imagine crying if somebody asks me to explain what I'm saying and getting mad and going, why? Yeah, I have faith. I just have faith, okay? I have faith. I believe it's real because I was told to, and I like the way it sounds. So I'm going with it, damn it. He hates Christianity only. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. King James, King Charles Army, the Cavaliers, just like the LeBron and the change, it was gone. Those extra 12 books you hear about are really conclusive and mostly corrupted. Again, it's all just such arrogance. God is like Santa for adults. Be good in life and you'll get your present when you die. Religion is like Santa Claus. Sooner or later you realize apartments don't have chimneys. Life to a book of fiction. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? It's just crazy. It's not just a work of fiction. It's a work of fiction that puts a certain group, a completely different religion that actually hates you as the superior. Like the craziest part is that Christians aren't even the favorite in their own belief structure. They're not even Christian God's chosen people. Christian God's chosen people are the bad guys in the Bible. Satan's not the bad guy in the Bible. You know, he's a side character at best. Abraham is the lead bad guy, and it's his, you know, the children of Abraham that are the ones that end up killing Jesus, killing the superhero, killing Christian God's only begotten son. And those are Christian God's chosen people? And you just accept that? That makes sense to you. If you come to my house, I'll beat your ass. How's that? If you believe in the Bible, then you believe Satan is real, and this is his kingdom until Jesus returns, correct? Right. Oh, jeez. They're so stupid. They're just so stupid. The reality is, God only appears to the Jews. God only seems to benefit the Jews in the Bible. You Christians are an afterthought. You're a side story. The Gentiles are actually the slaves. If you're not one of the chosen, you're one of the slaves. So to think that like that's what you assign yourself that identity, that you're one of the slaves. And then you look at the way the world works, especially right now, where our tax dollars are being stolen and given to Israel. They've made it illegal to burn the Israeli flag. You can burn an American flag. They'll be shit, but it's not illegal. It's freedom of speech. It's covered under the First Amendment. They're literally destroying the First Amendment to protect Israel and the Jewish people. That is wild. That's just fucking wild. I can't wrap my head around why anyone would think that's okay. You don't believe in Jesus? No, I'm not stupid. Jesus read from the Septuagint, which is essentially the Dead Sea Scrolls. No, it's not. The Dead Sea Scrolls are are more Jewish stuff found in what they created in what they say is 70 AD. They can get it all the way down to 70 AD. Found in 1946, because the previous oldest known scriptures that existed were from the 900s. And that's only, it gets so frustrating because that's if you believe the 900s exist. That you believe in the narrative you're given that just doesn't make any sense. Let's see. You didn't read the part where Noah's blood happened? Yeah, and then afterward, Noah must have had sex with all his children and grandchildren, and they all must have been fucking each other to repopulate the world, and somehow they made black people and Asians and Eskimos and, you know, all of these people all over and Americans. They didn't even know America existed, but they somehow put two red people on boats, two red children, and sailed them across. Like, okay, go ahead, go repopulate some land that we don't know exists. Yeah. The Noah's story is stupid. Everybody always talks about how stupid it is to get the animals to the flood or to the boat, but nobody talks about the aftermath. They open the doors and the lions and the antelope just walk all the way back to Africa together. And the lions are like, all right, so how long are you going to need before we can start hunting you? And the antelope are like, well, you know, we got to have at least 3-4 generations before even one of you can start killing us, or else we're all going to get extinct. You know, you kill us and there won't be any more antelope. So then the lions just went and hung out on Pride Rock and ate manna. Are we saying this is another one of those manna situations? Until one day they were finally enough antelope for them to just be like, okay, I'm still a hunter and I'm going to go catch this antelope. It's just so stupid. It's so stupid. You know what's crazy is Exodus, right? Exodus is this thing that we all have at the very least heard about, and you've seen the movies and the parting of the Red Sea and the Passover and just all of the bullshit associated with Exodus. Exodus is essential to Judaism's existence. You can't have Judaism without the Exodus narrative. And yet, according to anyone who's ever read the book outside of the belief structure, the cult, it's impossible. Exodus is an impossible narrative. 2 million people walking around the desert, 2 million Jays. Oh, my feet hurt. Are we there yet? Walking around the desert for 40 fucking years. It's just not a possible story. And then when the more you look into it, and you realize like what a fucking horrible God Yahweh is, the Jewish God. What a childish, insecure asshole Yahweh is. It's such a, like, that anybody would ever, like, if somebody was as childish and cowardly and insecure as Yahweh in today's society, they'd never be elevated to the position of leader. You know, they wouldn't be admired as this great. They'd be like, well, you're just a fucking horrible child. But it's essential. You can't have Judaism without Exodus, and Exodus is impossible. For 40 years, these people just ate manna, which appeared on the desert floor and was farmed by the women. But you could only keep it for a day. It would go bad after one day. So every day they had to harvest new manna that appeared on the desert floor, except for ritual shit like Passover, when they weren't allowed to work, so harvesting manna would be against the rules. In those cases, they were allowed to harvest. The manna would last an extra day. We should all pray for him. I love when people say that. So if you honestly believe that prayer works even just a little tiny bit, how dare you waste it on me? I mean, you're already a selfish piece of shit who wastes it on yourself all the time. You want to get the job, or you want to get the date, or you want to stop having all those gay thoughts, whatever it may be. Always selfish bullshit. For me, if you're going to waste any of your prayers on me, because, I would imagine like the God of the universe isn't just doing everything you ask of it. So if it's only going to do a certain amount of the things that you ask of it, you should only be praying that God stops all of the children being raped by the church. Right? By the church. We'll worry about the world when we eliminate it in the highest, the place that should be the most safe place for children, the church. It's not. So pray that your God stops all those clergymen from raping children, especially little boys. See if you can do that. Pray for that, you selfish prick. You can't have Christianity without Jesus, and him resurrecting after dying on the cross is impossible. It's not a possible situation. I can't believe Christians believe this craziness. It's true. It's fucking true. It's just, it's like embarrassing. It's embarrassing that they believe such horrible stupidity that also makes them the second class. That's the part that they don't really wrap their heads around. They end up being the second class citizens in their own belief structure.
Maybe she just needs more points.
It's really fucking scary. Right? Like, how you could ever be tricked into that. If the president came out and was like, man, Canada is just so much better than us. We're Americans, but it's like we're Canadians at heart. And anytime you see a Canadian, they're supposed to get some sort of special treatment. Nobody would be okay with it. Everyone would take issue with it. Why the fuck should we give the Canadians any sort of special treatment? Yada, 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 yada. You definitely take issue with the situation. This is why the use of marijuana should be regulated, right? You wouldn't want people asking too many questions that you're not smart enough to ask or answer, right? Ends up making you look like you're an idiot. And you don't like that, do you? Arrogant shitbag. You'd think if you knew I did this daily, you'd be able to prepare and come at me with something better than what you do. You just spout nonsense. There we go again. Knowing what the Bible says is nonsense, I guess. This country existed. I don't go into that part. Before this country existed, we have no idea what the story of this country is, what the history of this country is. And as soon as you start really looking into it, not just doing it because school told you to and you got to regurgitate in order to get the best grade, when you start looking into things from a skeptical point of view, none of it makes sense. None of it. All the stupid characters we're given, Thomas Jefferson, George Lincoln, or George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, all these goofy ass characters, it's just nonsense. It's all fucking nonsense. You know? So when you understand that in 1931, we are not capable of building the Empire State Building in just under in 400 days. It's not possible. That's you know, a little over a year. It's like a year and a month and a half. The Empire State Building. And all of its fucking grandeur and shit. And that's while a shit ton of other skyscrapers are also being built at the same time. Like, it's just not fucking real. It's not real. So when you understand that clearly some sort of reset happened, and the history we have doesn't tell you about the reset. The history we grew up with never told us about Tartaria, never told us about the Rosicrucians. These were huge, huge things. How come we never learned about alchemy in school? Alchemy wouldn't have been like the biggest of the sciences for our most of recorded history if they weren't getting results from it. And there are tons of reports of them getting results from it. Now, is that all real? I don't think so. But the fact is, we live in a society that doesn't tell us about the reset, that doesn't tell us about Tartaria, that doesn't tell us about the Rosicrucians, that doesn't tell us anything it doesn't want us to know. So you basically grow up having never heard about the reset. So anything before the reset, it can be anything. It's definitely not this bullshit. The Bible, the Quran, the Abrahamic religions, everything wasn't reset and somehow those things slipped through the cracks. No, these were creations. I believe Judaism to be created in the late 1800s, early 1900s is like a separator. Hebrew is the youngest language on the planet. This is something that, again, most people just do not understand. So we'll put in our narrative. Eliezer ben Yehuda. This guy, Eliezer ben Yehuda. Eliezer ben Yehuda, born Eliezer Yitzhak Perlman on January 7th, 1958. Died December 16th, 1922. was a Russian Jewish linguist. How people don't refer to themselves as like a Russian Christian or a Russian Muslim. Nobody does that. I know where Russia is. I know if you're Russian, you're from Russia. Where is Jewish from? I don't get that one. Russian Jewish lexicographer and journalist who immigrated to Jerusalem in 1881 when the Ottoman Empire ruled it. He is renowned as the lexicographer of the first Hebrew dictionary. He is renowned as the lexicographer of the first Hebrew dictionary. Do you get it? It wasn't revived, it was invented. If you have all of these scrolls and all of this engravings and all of these books and all of this ancient shit that supposedly, you know, is all written in Hebrew and shit, why wouldn't there be a dictionary? Everything but a dictionary existed. Ben Yehuda was the primary driving force behind the revival of the Hebrew language. They already had their own language. They already had Yiddish. So if they already had their own thing, why would they need another thing? To accomplish the task, Ben Yehuda insisted with the Committee of the Hebrew Language that, to quote the committee records, in order to supplement the deficiencies of the Hebrew language, the committee coins words according to the rules in grammar and linguistic analogy from Semitic roots, Aramaic and especially Arabic roots. Which is why if you take a mirror and you put it up to Arabic, you get Hebrew. Why would they need to supplement the deficiencies of the language by using Arabic if it already existed? In 1903, Ben Yehuda, along with many members of the Second Aliyah, supported Theodore Herzl's Uganda Scheme proposal. How many of you guys know about the Uganda Scheme proposal? Where they were thinking about setting up a J homeland in Uganda until they could take over Palestine. They were just gonna take over a portion of Uganda, a large portion of Uganda. And the reason they didn't do it is because I think one, having the slaves that look like black people, when that's already been like, it's already on its way out in America, that wouldn't have been okay, right? They couldn't have just gotten away with that. And two, and this is what is that it would have been too much work. It would have required too much work on their end because there wasn't the infrastructure there to supply them with everything they need. So they would have had to do work. They would have had to farm. They would have had to build things. They would have had to, you know, there would have been slaves, of course, but they would have had to have been involved as well. Ben Yehuda raised his son, Ben Zion, meaning son of Zion, entirely in Hebrew. He did not allow his son to be exposed to other languages during childhood and even berated his wife, because he's a good guy, for singing a Russian lullaby. His son thus became the first native speaker of Hebrew in modern times. Right? Do you guys get it? Like this isn't me telling you to think this way. This is me presenting you with the information that's available and asking you what you think about it. You're told to think a certain way, but the narrative doesn't back up what you're told to read or what exists. The narrative doesn't back up, the narrative doesn't back up what you're told existed. Anytime you read literally anything from this bullshit, from like prior to 1950, it comes across as fucking crazy and not really believable. Actually, 1960, 1970, the narrative just doesn't make sense. In 1969, not only did we supposedly go to the moon with technology that it is less than what you have in your hand right now as far as your cell phone goes, but that's also the first year of the hypersonic jet, the Concorde, which was the first plane to be flown entirely by computers other than takeoff and landing. In 1969, we were capable of creating hypersonic commercial flying, commercial commuter jets that flew at 55,000 feet as opposed to 35,000. It's 2025 and we can't do that anymore? The Concorde literally had the monopoly on this mode of travel. They offered luxury travel to people who were willing to pay for it and cut their flight times in half when it came to those large, long flights. Are you telling me that rich people wouldn't pay for that to this day? But there was one small little accident. It wasn't like a big deal. But that was enough to shut down this monopoly business the hypersonic commuter flying jets. We didn't see anything like that again till 89 or so when they showed us what stealth looked like. That was the next big advancement in jets. Do you not get how crazy that is? How much that doesn't make any sense? That they would just stop using this incredible advancement in technology. And I wonder, when you think about computers from, say, pre-1980s, when you see computers in any sort of TV show, movie, or anything, what do you see? You see big ass refrigerators with fucking flashing lights and reel-to-reels and, tiny little black and white screens. In 1969, they made a hypersonic jet that could fucking fly at 55,000 feet, faster than anything we have today. Completely run by computers. What computer systems did they have in 69? What the fuck are we even talking about there? The Concorde is something that should be introduced today, not 1969. No wonder people thought we'd be the Jetsons by now. Oh, I think they shut the comments off. Oh, god damn it. So irritating, man. It's so irritating. Have you ever seen anything like that before? Outside of my feed on a regular basis, have you ever seen anyone claim that the comments from their perspective have been shut off? From what I understand, you guys can still see them. Let's see. Maybe if I bring it up on the other phone, I'll still be able to see them. I don't even know how to look myself up. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Yeah, the comments are still going on this end. Oops. Shots for everyone, whistling skill, whistling. But Bugatti is supposedly a monopoly to their 5 customers. So that's what is happening here. Bugatti is supposedly a monopoly to their 5 customers. Gotta love the delay. So from my end, I can only see, bro, that copper scroll leads to treasure. Why does something happen only on my feed? How does that make sense? Other than trying to keep me, to prevent me from continuing to roast the bots and giving them the platform to be able to do whatever crazy shit they want to do. fly the pedo flag, push whatever narrative they can on the people that are watching, the real people that are watching, and hopefully influencing them from their perspective. But, like, make sense of it. If I'm wrong, if it's not to prevent me from doing this, not to prevent me from defending against whatever crazy shit's coming my way, what is the purpose of shutting my comments off? Shutting the comments off from my perspective? What, did they get full? I've literally never ever heard anybody else say this before. And it's a pretty specific glitch. And it happens repeatedly. So where does that come from? I'm not going to be able to look up, is Guy Williams dangerous? And then find the official government.org, Guy Williams is dangerous. We're doing everything we can to prevent him from reaching the levels he should reach because, he's trying to overthrow our supremacy. Like, you're not going to see that. So you have to be able to glean the proof from whatever you can, wherever it is. And if this feed doesn't prove anything other than I'm right about all this shit, I don't know what else to say. Like, I don't know how else it works for you. I don't know too many people talking about the Concorde and how ridiculous it is to think that there's computers aboard that. I don't know how many, I've never heard anybody else talk about submarines and how fucking ridiculous it is. That in 1952, they just decided they needed nuclear power submarines. So Hyman Rickover, a guy who was born and raised Jewish, but then converted to Protestantism, which is, I've never heard of anything like that before. A Jew converting to Protestant or something like Protestant? How does that even make sense? But they decided in 52 that they needed nuclear power submarines after just about every other attempt had failed. They weren't like, it's not like they were they had this master fleet of submarines and shit, and the German U-boats are boats that go underwater. Underwater boat, U-boat. These aren't submarines that are all swimming down below and, that's not what's happening. But they decided they needed it in 52, and by like 55, 56, nuclear submarines exist. Hyman Rickover had figured out how to make a nuclear power plant small enough to fit into a submarine while also leaving room for the desalination plant that has to exist alongside the nuclear power plant, because the nuclear plant won't work with salt water apparently. But they figured this out. 1950s, man. Technology was just booming in the 50s, right? And to have a nuclear power plant and a desalination plant and all of the other microscopic real-time calculations that would have to exist on a submarine, they would have had to have some pretty massive computer systems. So where was all this shit? Where is it now? They got submarines that are the size of 80 school buses. Can go underwater for 6 months at a time. Travel as deep as 300,000 feet. 300 meters deep. That makes sense, doesn't it? That sounds like the 1950s that you know of. When you think about cars from the 50s, planes from the 50s, boats from the 50s, you're like, fuck yeah. Nuclear submarines, yeah. And not only were they able to create nuclear submarines in the 50s, it's 70 years later and we still don't have like small, they haven't advanced nuclear power any smaller so that we can have, you know, small little facilities at the head of each town or in the middle of each town to provide basically free power to everyone. And you could say, oh, that'd be dangerous, but guess what? In the history of underwater travel, with all these nuclear powered submarines that they have, the military has never once had an accident. Never once lost anything. Their submarine, you know, their efficiency with nuclear powered submarines is 100%. They just came out the fucking, out the miners, hitting home runs and haven't stopped since. Because that's believable. That's how that's how science works. That's how technology works. You try it and you hit it. James Webb Space Telescope. You know, according to the narrative that we got, the Hubble was fucked up for a long time. You know, the mirror was off a little bit or whatever it was, and they had to do all these spacewalks and all this, you know, bullshit that they showed us back then. That used to happen a lot more frequently back then. The James Webb, nothing. Even if it did fuck up, it wouldn't matter. We wouldn't be able to fix it. It's 1 million to 1.5 million miles away from us at all times. It lives in the Lagrange points that were theorized in the 1700s and turned out to be true. Totally makes sense. In the 1770s, dudes had full grasp on the solar system and shit. And why not? Knew that the sun was 93 million miles away, knew how big the Earth orbits were, knew all that scientific shit in the 1700s, yeah. I mean, it was the late 1700s, right? It was the 1770s. If I said early 1700s, nobody would believe me. But if you're talking about the late 1700s, yeah, that totally makes sense. We were fucking hopping along in the late 1700s. Just like how the first submarine is from the 1620s. You guys believe that, right? That in 1620 they were capable of making a submarine. Well, what would be the greatest man to ever live made a submarine, I should say. The greatest man to ever live, and you have no idea who he is. Never heard him. His name, unless you've been here, of course. His name is Cornelius Drebbel. And he is the guy that invented the submarine, the guy that invented the microscope, the guy that invented air conditioning, the guy that invented fucking the magic lantern, the guy that had to do with the invention of the telescope, the guy that invented the camera obscura, the guy that built fountains and wrote plays and made moving statues. And I mean, the best thing is, according to the official historical narrative, he was said to be able to make it thunder and lightning on command. Never heard of that guy. I don't know of anybody else in the history of Earth that is officially said to have been able to make it thunder and lightning on command, but this guy you've never heard of could. And he was so ahead of his time that in 1620, when King James I became the first monarch to travel underwater in the submarine that Drebbel had created, the throne, the military, the officials of the time didn't see any value in being able to travel in a 16-passenger vessel underneath the water undetected for hundreds of meters and stay underwater for hours and blah. They didn't see any sort of benefit to that. So the technology just sort of disappeared for another 100 years. That makes sense. Where it failed like a couple of times. You know, you have the turtle submarine, which isn't a submarine at all, from the Civil War. That failed. You have the other one that's actually considered to be the first successful one, but it failed. And then in 1850, they were capable of creating a submarine that could go 150 feet, or could go 300 feet down. Could stay underwater. No, they could go 150 feet down. Could stay underwater for 3 hours, and had a hatch on the bottom that they could open up and harvest oysters and shit off the bottom of the ocean. In 1850, they had this. The only reason the technology didn't advance further, apparently, is because after using this thing a few times, which, how did they see 150 feet below the water inside a fucking thing? Where did their light come from? Shh, don't ask that question. Who was the first one brave enough to open the hatch? 150 feet down, and he's like, all right, I'm going to open the hatch now. And as long as the boat doesn't tip slightly, like, have you ever, like, been, you know, you have a cup or something under the water. You've trapped the air in the cup. All you have to do is turn it just slightly, and the air will shoot out, and the cup will fill with water and sink. But apparently, this submarine wasn't built like that. It could stay perfectly level. It could hover down at the, like, just to think about it. Okay, so this 200-pound body that's 70% water will float on the top of the water with that much air. With that much air, I can swim underwater, but it takes effort to stay underwater, and I can't get to the bottom unless I exhale the air. And that's with that much air, just a small little portion of my 200-pound body that's 70% water. You're telling me that in 1850 they had something that could just somehow sink slowly down and then just hover there at the bottom with air and people inside of it? Pressurized air? Because there would have to be pressure to stop the from crushing. 150 feet down, the pressure is pretty intense. And the only thing the only reason why this wasn't further used is because when they ascended, they didn't understand the concept of the bends, so the people got really sick. Because I guess they ascended super, super fast. And so they just abandoned the submarine on the coastline, and it was forgotten about till it was rediscovered in like the 19-somethings or other, where it was then moved to a museum, and you can go see it. And there's a placard right there that'll tell you this whole story. Because that makes fucking sense, doesn't it? Listen, I can prove what arrogant assholes you guys all are very, very easily. You know, there's one argument that needs to be made that proves everything I have to say. You're just an arrogant prick. And you might not, you know, mean to be. You might be a nice person in your life. But when it comes down to everything, the way you believe with everything, You believe it because you're an arrogant prick. And let me tell you how. Let me explain to you. What do you mean? You're the one that doesn't believe what you're the arrogant one. Yeah. I think I'm confident and educated. And I'm humble enough to know that if I'm not smart enough to be able to pick and choose which things I'm going to believe and which things the government is lying to me about. Right? That's where the arrogance comes in. You think you're smart enough to pick and choose which narratives the same government presents you, the same system presents you, that you're supposed to believe it, because you're supposed to believe everything that the system tells you as it's the authority. You're supposed to believe it wholeheartedly. You're not supposed to question it. The system doesn't lie to you. Except for JFK. The assassination of JFK. I mean, if you're old enough, obviously if you're 30 or less or whatever, they've really done a good job of keeping that from you. My generation and, a couple generations after me, at the least one, I mean, maybe two at the most. We grew up having this, acknowledging, celebrating JFK's assassination every year. We were bombarded with that shit. Oliver Stone made the JFK movie, and the JFK assassination was a very big part of just the societal lexicon up until recently. Up until like 9/11 sort of took its place. But polls have been done time and time again that say 80-90% of the people don't believe the narrative that the government gives you regarding JFK. And you don't believe it because of what you've had access to. They've shown you certain things, and based on your own experience, you've said, you know what? The system that tells me to believe the earth is round and I believe it, the system that tells me to get my shots, and do you get your shots or do you not? Is this another one of those things that you're too arrogant to do? But the system tells me this and I believe it whenever I want to attack somebody, because somebody else might have more access to information than I do. What you find, the vast majority of the time, that the loudest people on here are the dumbest. They don't know their shit. They're the type of Christians who don't know anything about the Bible, sans, thou shalt not kill and stuff like that. Really, really basic shit. And yet they want to pretend out of arrogance that they know more than the person who is talking. They know I'm wrong because they just know it. And these are the same people that also know that Islam is wrong, Scientology is wrong, Judaism's wrong, Hinduism's wrong, Buddhism's wrong. Out in some, small deserted Africa or small isolated African village, what they believe is wrong. All of those other belief structures are wrong. Mormons are wrong. And you can debunk them because, anything they present, you can be like, well, what about this? And you can sufficiently debunk everything else. But you got to Christianity and you were like, no, this one just makes too much sense. I can't debunk any of it. So, that's how the majority of Christians act. But it's not true. You have no idea. You don't think Islam is real because it's fucking ridiculous. Anything that suggested all the Muhammads and all of the Allah and all, that's all just fucking ridiculous. You're smart enough to see that. But then when it comes to you believing basically the exact same thing with just different names, different settings, you're like, no, this one's real. This one's real. My parents told me this one was real. Their parents told them this one was real. You know, it doesn't make any sense. I don't actually live my life by the rules it puts forth because that wouldn't make sense, but it's still real. This is the real one. Like you're arrogant. And it's that arrogance that drives so many people. You know, the entire genocide that's taking place right now is based on this arrogance and thinking that they are God's chosen people and they can do whatever the fuck they want to do. And the reality is, because you're a dumb secondary Christian, you think they're God's chosen people and they can do whatever they want to do. That's how much you've been brainwashed through your own arrogance. You've brainwashed yourself. And the thing is, at some point in your life, you've had these thoughts. You know this is true. And yet, because you didn't want to upset mommy and daddy for being a free thinker, because you've seen what happens to people like me, you didn't want to get made fun of or whatever, so you just accept it. Even though it's fucking stupid, you just accept it. You don't actually believe it. Good morning. You believe it based on your own selfishness, your own arrogance, your own selfishness. You believe your God answers your prayers. All those Palestinians, Christians praying that the bombs don't fall on them today, God's not listening to them. He's worried about, your doggy coming home who ran away. You've been praying about it. Dog came home, so must have been God. The arrogance is just, it's everywhere. Literally, it governs everything you think. You think that because you don't like gay stuff, gay shouldn't be allowed to do it. It's the craziest shit to me. Like, I have no problem saying I think me being gay is gross. Me touching penises, me kissing dudes, me anything gay is gross. You doing it? I don't care. I don't care what you do. You can fuck all the feet you want to. As long as you're not hurting somebody against their will, and you're not fucking with children, I don't give a fuck what you do. Be as weird as you fucking want. Whatever keeps you from killing people. But this is the world we live in, where people go, well, I think what you do is gross, so I don't think you should have the same rights I have. And the thing is, they're not even confident enough or whatever to say that. They hide behind some biblical bullshit Sodom and Gomorrah story, like that story's a good story. The story that pushes incest, child rape, child gang rape, some gay voodoo bullshit. Like, it's such a crazy story. And yet people base their hatred on it, their bigotry on it. And it's because we live in a society where we're not allowed to say, yeah, that's gross for me. Yet, ask a gay dude what he thinks of vaginas. Ask some fucking butch lesbian like my sister-in-law what she would do with a penis. How she would, if somebody had a penis in front of her, and what she would do to it. She's going to be like, ugh. She's going to think penises are gross. There's nothing wrong with that. You're allowed to think shit's gross for you. People eat bugs and shit. I think that's gross. Do I think you shouldn't be able to do it because I think it's gross? No. Do what you want to do. How I think of what you do doesn't matter. The only way it matters is if it involves children or you're harming someone against their will. That's the only time it matters. Everything else doesn't fucking matter. And so many especially white people, so many white people think that that's how it works. You ask them, like, when they start talking about gays and trans and shit like that, like, why shouldn't they have the same rights you have? Be like, well, one was mean to me when I was a kid, so that means all trans shouldn't have the same rights as everyone else. What? They have all these opinions on people, and they think that their opinion matters. Like anybody gives a shit about their approval. You don't need their approval on anything, do you? Yeah. You don't need my approval to fuck the broad you fuck, do you? Why would anyone need your approval to fuck somebody? To love somebody? You know, I mean, it's just such arrogant bullshit. It's just more and more arrogance. And it's a similar kind of arrogance, but it's, you know, it all comes down to insecure, ignorant arrogance. You don't know about something, it makes you insecure because you're not on that level. Think about all the insecure, straight white men out there who have a decent job. They're not Brad Pitt, but they're okay looking. They have a tiny penis and they're really insecure. But by all accounts, and according to everyone they know, they shouldn't be. Everybody's like, what are you so insecure about, dude? You're a good looking guy. You got a good job. You got good money. You're pretty smart. Like, what are you so insecure about? Oh, I don't know. And then you see this gay guy who you deem to be like, I would never leave the house like that guy. That guy should be ashamed of himself. He's not a straight white Christian man like me. And yet for some reason he's walking around all proud and secure. And how come he's not insecure like I am? I think that has a big part in it. I also think, you know, according to all the people dumb enough to say gay is a choice, you're probably right. You know, for you, gay is a choice. You clearly have gay shit in your head that you choose not to act on, and you wonder why other people don't make that same choice. For someone like me, I clearly there's no choice in putting a penis in your mouth, putting a penis in your butt. There's no choice about that. You either do that or you don't. For me, it's gross. There's no choice. But see, that's because, you know, I'm secure, and I think it's really too bad that you can't be. It's really too bad that you can't act on those gay things without feeling weird, so you end up lashing out at other people. I'm sorry for you. I wish you could be who you truly are. You know, I'm fighting for you. Same way that you're you know, I'm fighting against the genocide and the pedophilia and all that. I'm fighting for you too. I want you to be who you are, so maybe you won't be such a arrogant, insecure, ignorant asshole. foundation of what we believe is arrogance. So everything that comes from that requires that same arrogance. If they control how you think, then what you think is secondary. And so at the end of the day, everybody believes what they believe because they were presented with something. They chose whether it made sense. They were given two choices about everything. And at the end of the day, most people believe an amalgamation of both those things, even though they're opposite. You know, you shouldn't be able to believe in the Bible and the Big Bang. Like, those things don't go together. It's very specific. The first thing your God does after it turns on the light is creates the indestructible firmament dome that separates the waters of heaven from the earth down below, and God lives above the firmament and all this other bullshit. There is no Big Bang. There is no Mars and Jupiter and other planets out there. There is no universe. There is no aliens. None of that. If you're a Christian, it's a dome. And yet most of you believe in aliens. You believe in James Webb Space Telescope pictures. You believe we went to the moon. You believe all that shit. Completely goes against the narrative, but you believe it. And the funny thing is, both creation stories are like identical. You can't ask what was there beforehand. Was it the big empty universe and then God just appeared? Or was it nothing and then God appeared and made the big empty universe? Like, what was a nothing? How was there a nothing? Religious people love to say that big bangers. Oh, so you believe all this just came from nothing? You believe something can come from nothing? That's crazy, man. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And if you go, okay, so what made God? Oh, God was always here. There was always God. How does that even make sense? But on the same level, the singularity that eventually led to the Big Bang, where everything in the universe was condensed down into something smaller than a match head, where was that? Was that in nothing? Or was it inside a big empty warehouse? It's just that both of them are the same stupid. I do have to admit, though, unfortunately, it pains me to say it every time I say it, but the Big Bang Theory makes less sense than the Jesus theory. And that's horrible, because the Jesus theory is fucking stupid. It makes no sense whatsoever. But it makes more sense than the Big Bang. The Big Bang is just stupid. That's why it's the Big Bang Theory. It's not Big Bang Fact, because it's stupid. It's fucking stupid. But it's all the same. It's all to send you in these on these wild goose chases. Getting in arguments with your fellow Goyim about, well, I believe this narrative that I was told. Well, I believe this narrative that I was told. I believe in this Sky Daddy. Well, I believe in this Sky Daddy. All right, we should fight. I mean, you saw the dumbass earlier talking about, we should fight. We should debate, and then we should fight. What kind of fucking weirdo is that? Insecure, goofy-ass weirdo. Yeah. But they provide us with all of this distraction. We're sitting here fighting over the dumbest things. We're fighting over things that we can't prove. None of us are allowed to get in a spaceship and fly up and see what the Earth actually looks like. We definitely don't have any video of, from the top of the rocket, where the rocket goes out of the blue and into the black. We've never seen that one. We've never seen the rocket take off and go all the way up uninterrupted and show you the You know, the earth form, the round earth form beneath it. Never seen anything like that. And if you have, it's because it's CGI. Like, it's fucking stupid. Shouldn't be the thing in 2025. There shouldn't be an earth-shaped argument in 2025. That shit should have been put to rest a long time ago. It's not our fault that the information that we're given is so flawed and stupid and well, we went to the moon 6 times between 1969 and 1976, and then we lost the telemetry data, all the data that definitively proves that we did it, how we did it, the whole thing. Big room full of data. Yeah. Our bad. We sort of lost it. It sucks, I know. We lost all of it. Big room full of 60s computers, 70s computers. Yeah, we lost it. But you should still believe us with what we tell you, because it's true. And people do. And again, these are the people who will fucking fight to death that they're Christian too. So fucking strange how easily manipulated people are. And how desperate they are to fit into a group, to fit into an identity. I'm a Republican. That means I support everything the Republicans support. Why? And you won't support anything the Democrats support. And vice versa. You're a Democrat, so that means you support everything the Democrats support, nothing. Do you know how stupid that is? It's just what they do. They give us the two choices. You can either believe in space and God and Big Bang, or space and Big Bang, or God and Jesus. Or like say an amalgamation of both. You can be a conservative or a Christian, or a Republican or a Democrat. You're a man or a woman. You're gay or you're straight. You're black or you're white. They love doing that to us. And it's like, so you're saying in all of these great big scenarios, these fundamental scenarios that are paramount to our lives, we get two choices? Usually the two choices are, the same, or they're of the same thing, two sides of the same bird. Do you realize how fucking ridiculous that is? That you just accept it? It's not ridiculous that they do it. If it works, if you can put in the most minimal effort and keep the dumb goyim from looking at what you do, from looking at this one thing, well, more power to you. I commend you for doing that. You're fuckface. I hate you guys. But I totally understand your perspective. You are the inferior group. And because of your need to be seen as the superior and your need to control us, which, if I take it to the furthest level, again, is it to keep us alive? Is it to keep us from another reset happening? Because as soon as we unify and become boring, the show ends and they reset it again? That's the furthest I can take why. Because then I once it gets to that point, I get to theorizing and talking about shit I can't know. So until the Goyim unite and overthrow the Jays that control the narrative, I'm stuck with the narrative. But again, they love giving us two choices for us, Christian or Islam. You're not allowed to be the third one. And if you do convert, you'll regret it. You will never be treated as equal. It helps if you're hot, but that's just because they all want to fuck you. It's hot female. But this is, wow, it's so weird right now. It's so still. It's almost eerie outside right now. The calm before the storm. Dun dun dun. Like I say, it's. What day is it? It's really a strange scenario that we find ourselves in. Because at the end of the day, like, especially for me, I really just want everybody to be, like, good and working together. Happy, equal. I don't want anybody to be superior. I don't want anybody to be committing genocide. I don't want anybody to be oppressing other people for who they are. I don't want cults to rule our world with their weird-ass fucking disgusting rituals and shit. I don't want that. I don't want anybody to die. I would love it if all of the bad guys denounced their cult and we all just lived happily ever after. You know what? We are all here together. Let's all work together. No one is, chosen by God. No one is allowed to oppress anyone else. Let's just make this utopia. Let's remake the utopia. Let's be people capable of building Machu Picchu. Let's be the people capable of building, name your cathedral. Name your star fort. Let's be those people again. Because I don't think those people had war. I don't think those people had conflict. I don't think they had conflict. Other than how do we make it better? But I don't think we were killing each other and we were subjugating each other. We couldn't have been. Slaves don't make that. Prisoners don't make that. Go look at the oldest films you can find. Go look at the oldest pictures you can find. Go look at all the paintings. Do you really think all the mega structures that were painted in similar style throughout all of the early hundreds and thousands and whatever, do you think all of those were figments of people's imagination? It was like the style to paint these magnificent structures in the backgrounds of your paintings, even though they didn't exist. But for some reason, everybody knew that was what you did. It's strange, I get to this point where anybody can tell me I'm wrong, do it. But I can't see the comments anyway, so it's one of these days where I'm just gonna ramble. I'm just gonna yap. If you're watching, don't forget to like, share, and sub. Supposedly that shit helps, so take 2 seconds. Share it on click share it to Facebook. If you're scared what people will say, then share it with the header, this guy's crazy, come tell him he is. Whatever you have to do. But let the system know that you're not just some dumb goyim. That we, they don't look at us as black goyim, white goyim, Asian goyim, brown goyim, none of it. We're just goyim to them. Anything that isn't them is goyim. Cars, tables, chairs, beds, whatever. And it's all here to service them. So instead of us looking at our brothers and sisters like, man, you're black. You like sleeping with dudes. You like wearing a dress. You know, and it's only that way because most people don't have a problem with hot lesbians. If it's, you know, butchy lesbians like my sister-in-law, then people aren't going to want to watch it. But if it's some hot chicks, oh, well, that's okay. Then gay's okay. But other than that, gay's not okay. Like, we just need to stop all that shit. It's crazy to think that we're still subjugated by all that shit. It's funny how every time I ask everybody to share, because I don't do it very often, but when I do, the number always drops way off. That's why I say supposedly it helps, because every time it's suggested, the number seems to drop. But whatever. I'm done anyway. Fuck it. It's less fun for me when there's no food to feed off of, when I can't see the comments. It's more fun for me that way. You know, I can speak more interrupted. It's more educational. It's more focused when there's no interruptions. But I love smashing these people because, you know, from my perspective, this is Team Jorge. This is act.il. This is Israel that I'm directly speaking to. And I love smashing them and showing how fucking inbred stupid they are. I mean, it's easy. It's not like any comments ever come through that, you know, I'm like, oh shit, you know, my whole world is crushed. I was thinking this way, but now I'm wrong. But that doesn't happen. Nobody even attempts it. They just cry. And it's because they know better. You know, the reason why people don't know their Bible but claim to be Christian is because they know if they read their Bible, it's going to make them less likely to be a Christian. It's such dumb nonsense that they go, you know, they start reading it, they start getting a little bit into it, and they you know, they start like, oh shit, this is really stupid. I don't want to say I believe this, but I have to believe. So they have to just stop reading it. If they kept reading, if they kept exploring, if they knew more, they would, you know, they just wouldn't be able to maintain the viewpoint. And they want to believe they're going to go to heaven. They want to give this miserable situation some sort of, you know, prize outlook. So they do their best to make it seem like they have to believe it's true in order to get the benefit. So they can't, you know, you can't, you know, they can't look at it honestly or anything like that, or even look at it, because it's 2025 and most people are too smart to fall for that stupid shit. Because it's absolutely stupid shit. The Bible is 100% some.
Nick is finally doing his reading. He tried to lie to me. He should be finishing no earlier than page 54. Nathan's doing cat shit.
Crack that whip, mama. Fucking kids.
I got to deal with 4 dogs. Well, I called Justine and let her have it, so she can call them and let them have it.
It's crazy. It's really crazy. It's crazy to me that anybody would want to be a Christian. Why would you want that? I mean, you're going to hell. What you want is to believe in, for no reason other than your selfish bullshit, is that, is a system that you're going to go to hell and burn for all of eternity. And you are. The vast majority of you, the 9% of you Christians out there, you're going to go to hell. You had sex before you were married. You had sex for reasons other than procreation. You're going to go to hell. You've done lots of things that you're not supposed to do, and you knew you weren't supposed to do them. It wasn't like it was some obscure thing, or you were some, little African child who didn't know about it. You knew exactly what you were doing, and you did it anyway. And I know you believe there's the loophole. As long as you repent, then you'll live forever. Well, that doesn't mean you're going to live forever in heaven now, does it? But why would you want to believe in something that damns you to eternal fucking damnation, while also making you the second tier, making you the slave? You're the Gentile slave that your book talks about pretty frequently. Why would you want to believe that? What is the benefit for you? I mean, reality is you have to give up on things that you want to do in life. You have to pay your money, your hard-earned money, even though you might be struggling, you're still required to give your money to the church every week. As a female, you're third class. You don't even, you're not even permitted to speak. You're just shit. I mean, what's the benefit to this? As long as you follow the rules, when you die, then the party starts. Then you get to have the good life. You have to die first. And you have to die when God decides so. Yeah, almost. You're right. Because you want to believe you're going to go to heaven, and again, that's when the party starts. It's when you get up to heaven. Sorry, my kid distracted me. That's when your good time starts. That's when you get to live the chosen life. But you already know you won't. It's just crazy. Such a self-defeating set of beliefs. You never catch me saying, yeah, you know what, somebody else is the chosen, and I'm just one of these dumb slaves. It's too bad I'm this dumb. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to leave you with the link in the description. It's a link to the music. It's free to download, free to listen to. It's unlike anything you've ever heard before. So go into it with zero expectation. Expect it to be the worst thing ever. Whatever. I think you should expect the best of me, but you think of it however you want. Go get your free download, www.the- Bilderberg, Bilderberg. Oh my god, that's not the cutest thing you've ever seen. Oh my goodness. Bilderberg-group.com. Oh, hello. Yeah. Huh? Free download. I'll leave you with a link to what is the most important film ever made, which is Hollywoodism. I love how when they know I'm about to get off, they throttle the number back up. Si, senor.
Sí, señor.
Will you fill up the dog's waters, please? Come on. Come on, dummy. Come on, you big dummy. Come on. Weirdo. Mom. Mom.
Oh, makes sense.
So, free download. Go watch Hollywoodism. Yeah, you're terrible. Hollywoodism is everything I've talked about today. It explains everything you need to know. And it's on YouTube, Hollywoodism. I assume the link I share still works, but if it doesn't, just search it out, Hollywoodism. Again, it says everything I'm saying, but it says it from their perspective. There's a line in the movie where one of the descendants of the Hollywood mogul says, essentially you could say, the American dream is the Jewish dream. Where they acknowledge that they used Hollywood to create the ideal situation for themselves that they want to live in. And so I highly suggest that you watch it, especially if you're going to come back here, which so many of you will, and talk your shit. At least have some other perspective than mine. Have their perspective, right? It's their perspective. So go watch it. Go watch the... Ew, Popeye, stop tickling Bluto's feet. That's fucking weird. And then there'll be 3 links to the music videos on Facebook. Donald Trump Hates America, COVID Sauce, and Sleight of Hand Job. Go check those out. Make sure you have yourself a wonderful day. And most importantly, you've caused so much pain in the world, and you have the potential to cause so much pain. And whether you've actually fucked with a kid or not, if you think it's okay because you haven't, you just watch videos, yeah, you're just as bad. So all of you pedos out there, do us all a huge favor.